Good morning, Mike and Arlen. I'm glad people showed up. Hey, Michael Johnson, nice to meet you. Nice to see you. Oh, wow. Let's see what's going to happen here. I don't know that we've ever done a live stream at this point in time, but there really is a lot of different topics to talk about. And in this particular instance, we will have an open panel. So I'm going to post that right now. So if you'd like to join in, please feel free to cam up. You must show your face, must be reasonably, uh, well, just must be reasonable. Let's leave it at that and see where it goes. So, Hoppa, how are ya? Good to see you. Smith, nice to meet you. Where are you from, Smith? Tony, how have you been, Tony? Haven't seen you in a while. Age gap relationships. Should you bring your Filipina to the U.S. and associating with expats? All three various topics, and then any other topic that you would like to bring up. Feel free to join in. Feel free to call in with your video on, obviously. Oh, so Smith is from Texas. I did some time down in Houston. I was down there. Um, Short load. Good evening, short load. Aloha, Copal. Yes, Copal is here as well. So, anyways, I want to be and find out how you feel about these topics. I want to know what it is about these topics you either agree or disagree with. Still drinking my coffee here. Hoppa says, after being an OFW in Dubai, my wife has no desire to live in the U.S. Yeah, I mean, some people don't. Arlene did not care. It's not that she didn't care for the U.S. It was more of an issue of she felt like if I didn't mind going to the Philippines, um, hey, her family is there and she's very close with her family. So it wasn't an issue of not adjusting to the U.S. Arlene spent over 2 years there. She, you know, had friends. She learned to drive there. She had her green card, social security card, the whole 9 yards. But some people just don't want, some Filipinas don't particularly care for the U.S. It is nothing special for them. Cebu, how you doing, George? Thank you for joining us. Cebu, only been there twice. Good morning, Mike Ross. Hope you're doing well. So, it's been an interesting week. It really and truly has been. As we discuss all of these differences and everything else, um, you know, I ran into that American. I don't know if you've seen that video. Um, just couldn't figure that one out for the life of me. But I mean, maybe he's got a plan or strategy that just I'm not aware of. You know, maybe he has a different feeling, a different way, a different ideology. And I guess that's part of what makes us all different. Um, Mojo, have you heard anything? It's just still sitting. Who knows? Have no idea what's going to happen with the divorce bill anytime soon. Copal says, age gap I am okay with. When I move, I still maintain residence here, but I'm not looking to do enough time to make it worth her while. There you go. Good morning, Dave. How's things in Alaska this morning? Is it warming up any? Age gap relationships are interesting. I never gave them much credence. Certainly, I guess there's a lot of background to it, a lot of history, a lot of all the things that go along with that. But I never really gave it. I think that people are individuals, men and women, and how they feel about age differences is a situation for them. And I guess I can only say that because, there's an age gap with Arlene and I, but who knows? Hapa says she's been at OFW for 10 years still and finishing her contract and wants to rebond with her family, culture, and lifestyle. And her main priority is our daughter. There you go, Hapa. There's a big, big deal. I mean, sometimes maybe we don't think about those kinds of things. All of these bloggers that are saying, don't bring your Filipina to the, what's wrong with my shirt here? Don't bring your Filipina to the West, don't do this, don't do that. I'm not sure that I agree with some of the reasons that they give. Arlene and I never had a problem there. Elvis says, good morning. I'll be giving myself a trial run for 6 months, moving to Laguna. You know what? I actually know some people that live in Laguna. I used to go to Vegas quite a bit over the years. And one of the pit bosses at the craps tables, I like to play craps. I got to know him very well, Filipino American. And they actually have a home in Laguna. They love it. Mike says, in my opinion, your average Filipino, if they have a comfortable life here, has no desire to live permanently in the States. It's possibility. It's possibility. 10-year contract. Wow. Ricky Last. Hey, Ricky, how are you? Good morning, Just Facts. How are you doing? Nice to see you. Thanks for joining the live. Hapa. Mojo, different employers and few renewals. Well, that explains the 10-year contract. Ruby. Good morning, Ruby. How are you? I hope you're doing well. Dave says it's 24 degrees in Anchorage, Fahrenheit. Damn near a heat wave. Smith says the boss is from Zamboanga, and we have decided to move back in 2 years, waiting for the twins to get through elementary. There you go. You know what, Smith? Let me ask you a question. How do you feel about where their future education is going to be? You're talking about them finishing elementary. Are you worried about what junior high and high school is going to bring to them in Zamboanga? Copal says, bad relationships wherever you are, good ones thrive. What's the age difference between you and your wife? I can't imagine you with a 20-something. No, she's not 20-something. She's over 30, under 40, over 30, under 35. All right? So, we'll just leave it at that. Good morning, Sailor Tom. How are you? Where do you play craps at, Mike? I play at Solaire. You know what? I don't play craps here in Angeles City. We used to, when we lived in Makati, I used to go to Resort World and play there. But they get, if you've never been on a average Philippine craps table, not a high rollers table, but an average Philippine craps table, you're in for a whole new world of play. It is quite crazy. It really is. Good morning, Scott. How are you? Hope you're doing well. Now you're coming back in by about 6 months. You'll be back. Sense of style, I would say absolutely bring your Filipino to you. I made a video on that. However, most foreigners living in the Philippines are with separated Filipinas. I don't know sense of style. I really don't know. I don't know any way to actually get real data on that. I really don't. If you've got a statistic that's put out there, then I would like to see it, but I don't see it. I mean, not that I don't see that it's true. I don't see that statistic. I don't see where, I know that no government official here has ever asked me, other than my 13A visa, if I'm married to a Filipina. I'd like to see where that data would come from. Sociopath says the divorce bill is dead. Catholic Church remains powerful influence. We'll see. Ruby says, one reason I took citizenship in Australia is for the benefits handed to Australians. I'm now a dual citizen and reacquire back to my Filipino citizenship. Yes. And that is something that Arlene and I discussed at length. That if she was, the plans that she had, all right, would indeed give up a lot of U.S. perks. But it is what it is. Sailor Tom, 23 degrees in Valdez, Alaska. Filipina sun in 10 days. Good deal, Sailor Tom. Where are you going to here? Kenny, good morning, Mike. Your video about the kids enjoying themselves is great. You know what? Those kids wore me out. I mean, they went a mile a minute the whole time. So, what can I say? But watching them live and watching them experience things that they'd only seen on TV, that was actually a ton of very rewarding. Mike says you have to live in major cities to access these schools, though. Yep. So speaking of age gap relationships, how much is the gap? 20 plus, 30 plus, 40 plus? It usually matters. Well, Ruby, that's what I'm asking. I'm asking, how do people feel about age gap relationships and what they entail? I think I think we have to be honest. I really do. What happens when a 70-year-old guy hooks up with a 20-something odd girl and she reaches her sexual peak 10 years later when she is 30s and now he is in his 80s? I think that's one issue. I think another issue is that what happens when their wants, desires, demands, needs, okay, start to diverge. My life at 30 was much different than my life is now. My wants, needs, and desires. So how do you deal with that? Do you deal with it? Is it an issue? Mike says you have to live in a major city to access private schools. Yes. Let's see here. If there's money to be made from divorce, it may have a chance. I don't think there'll be enough people making enough money. But you know what? I haven't seen the bill progress, and I don't know where. And it seems like the entire cha-cha issue is also going to be dead on arrival. We'll find out. I know many that do homeschooling with private tutors. It's a good, solid option from what I've seen. It might be. I don't know. But it was just a question that I had. So I want to talk about that. I want to talk about, do you or will you or do you want to disassociate with or associate with expats? You know, we see a lot of people that say, I don't want to be around other expats. I don't want to be a part of that. I don't want that toxicity that comes with it, or this claimed toxicity. John, hey brother, long time no talk. Hey John, how you doing? Find a faithful. How does an American find a good, faithful Filipino to marry if he's not able to travel out of the U.S. for 3 more years? I tried, Christian. Well, you know what, John? What in the world are you talking about? I mean, I certainly understand your desire, but you're talking about trying to find somebody and maintain a long distance relationship for 3 years. You can't come over for a visit. I don't know how you would find. I mean, that would be a crapshoot. Michael says his age gap is only 7.5 years. Yeah, that is definitely different. Just Fact says Soler and Okada players can sit down in chairs. Yeah. When we played at Resort World, we played on the upper deck, second floor craps. It's not a super high roller, but it is, not the 50 peso, 100 peso beds downstairs, which I'm sure have gone up. We haven't been in, a couple of years. And they have chairs as well. And here in Angeles City at Han, Hann Resort, you can play in chairs. So let's see here. So let's see. Kenny's coming in, I think. Oh, there's Kenny. How you doing, Kenny?
Hey, I'm doing good. How are you doing today?
Good, thank you. Let me fix that.
Can you hear me?
Yep, we hear you just fine. Just Facts.
Right.
Just Facts says he plays at the VIP room. We get a chair and a table if you order food while playing. Yep. Good morning, Gary. I could care less what others do, but I have 2 daughters and would not approve a large age gap for them. Yeah, Mike, it's kind of funny. You say that, and I agree with you. Yet, at the same time, that's not how I am. I guess that makes me a hypocrite, maybe. Sailor Tom works offshore in Alaska, live in the Philippines, mostly Cebu, have relatives all over. Cousin works at ABC. Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot, Tom. The data, according to Census Style, the data is just what I've seen, 2016, 2022. Nothing official. If a foreigner says he's married and living in the Philippines, I believe it until after a few beers. they say that she's separated. Yeah, and that's the problem, is that some of these people are just going to lie nonstop, and you see it all the time, you hear it all the time. We see that, um, you know, but all of you will see that. All of you will.
Yeah.
Both people in relationships can do a trade. And when the situation no longer works, as a developing country, there's no shortage of willing participants. And there's true, Copal. That's very, very true. There are ample opportunities for finding yourself in a relationship. And then there are ample opportunities for just maintaining a single lifestyle. It certainly happens. Hopper says, for me, in my opinion on age gap relationships, it's not my concern. None of my business, and I don't comment about it. My wife is 20 years younger than me. Oh, there you go, Hopper. Bicole, Kel, how are you? John, you can find good Filipinas in the States too. Why limit your options? Well, you know something. Mike, that's going to bring up another statement. All right. Another question. We had a question. I had one of the topics I said was associating with expats and why it seems to be so toxic. And I call bullshit on that. I really and truly do. Sense of style. I'm waiting for a foreign vlogger living in the Philippines claiming he's married to a Filipina. Post any documents. I think that would be earth shattering. It hasn't happened yet. A foreigner living in the Philippines claiming I live in the Philippines, sense of style. I'm very married. I have wedding certificate. I have wedding license. I have videos of the wedding. I don't know. I'm not sure what you're getting at, sense of style. Christopher, Atlantic City, New Jersey. BT and Betty, good morning. Hopper says, I'm not a gambler unless it's buying lunch on a bet. No kidding. Wow. 22 minutes, 65 people in the room. Well, let's talk about age gap. Let's talk about bringing your Filipina to the U.S. and let's talk about whether it's safe or whether you think it's good or bad to associate with other expats. And with that being said, let's see, 31, 71. There's so many comments here. So I've put the link in, and you guys can jump in. If I've missed you, I'm sorry.
I got a couple of snippets to add.
Ace Bachelor, cool. Ace, why don't you cam up? Tell us what your opinions are. All right. I like Ace. I really and truly do. In fact, I need to catch up with you, Ace. I want to talk to you about something. So
I like Ace too. I like his videos. He's funny. Ace is funny.
yeah, he's very, very entertaining. Very, very entertaining. For those of you that have not seen his channel, I suggest you go give it a look. I really and truly
He puts
do.
a lot of work into it. He puts a lot of work having to do that whiteboard and everything.
Well, yeah, I guess. I don't know. But it is it is good entertainment. That's for sure. Some of it's great information, some of it's satirical, some of it is whatever you want to call it. So I want to touch on something that was said earlier about Filipinos and expats. It was a comment that was made a little bit earlier. You get all of these people that tell you you should never You want to get away from that toxicity. You don't want to associate with others in the Philippines. You don't want to be around other expats. I disagree. And I'm going to use two examples as to why I disagree. And I challenge anybody to come on camera and challenge those. If you look at Filipinos, okay? If you actually look at Filipinos, if you go to the US, all right, you'll notice there's like 5 major cities that most of the Filipinos live in the US. And of those 5 major cities, they have huge, huge cultural congregation points. And the only one that I'm intimately familiar with, all right, is Summerlin, Nevada, which is a suburb of Vegas. That is where the largest group of Filipinos in one of the largest Filipino population centers in the U.S. live. They all live there. All right. So I start to think to myself, all right, I start to say to myself that, hey, with that being said, it's okay for them, but it's not okay for Americans or British or Australians to be around their kind. Why is it that Filipinos can be around their kind and function fine, where Americans and others cannot? I don't understand that for any of it. I really and truly do not. Let's see here. Sense of Style's trying to come in, and guess number 2. There we go. Sense of Style got a haircut. Holy shit.
He sure did.
Oh,
Wow. What happened?
yeah. Let me see if I can. Well, yeah, I had to do something, so I went to. I was on the west side in Santa Monica, and there's a barber I usually go to, and I went in there, and the line wasn't too long, and I ended up. I said, "Well, now, can you shave shave it?" And they said, "No, no, only a trim." I said, "Okay, well, however you want to do it."
Huh.
And then as time went on, more and more people came in there. It's a very busy barber shop, and the haircuts are $40.
Oh my God. So John says,
I think it's like $1 in the Philippines. Yeah.
John says he's on the east coast of North Carolina. Help me find a faithful, God-loving Filipino over 21. I'm 47. John, you know what? You should look at what do you bring to a Filipina? What in the U.S. do you have that would intrigue a Filipina in the U.S.? What do you have in the U.S.? I mean, if you're talking about a long distance relationship, John, you're just nuts. That's just crazy. You said it's going. Oh, wait a minute. What happened? Oh, there we go. You're talking. I don't know. Mike says you're using leverage to keep her in her place. I don't know. I don't know about all of that, but John, I got to tell you, I don't know what it is. I mean, do you want a Filipina that is living in the Philippines and wants to continue because you want to go to the Philippines? Or are you saying you want to meet a Filipina in the U.S. that wants to go back to the Philippines? Or what? I mean, you're going to have to be a whole lot different. Just Facts is $50 haircuts. Bill Welsh. Good morning, Bill. How you doing? It's nice to see you're here. Let me try and think here. What else has been going on? Oh, here's a good one. I got banned from a YouTube channel here in Angeles City.
What?
I'm not sure when I got banned, but it's within the past 2 weeks. I noticed my comments weren't showing up before, and then I confirmed it yesterday. So I got banned. I have no idea why. I guess I could care less. So Mojo says you can take the foreigner out of the USA politics, but you can't take the politics out of some foreigners. I flew out to the Philippines, and first foreigner I met started to complain about politics. Yeah, and you know something? I think because I think foreigners talk about politics a lot because they're older, they're passionate about it, they're more exposed to it over their lifetime, and they look at it as a common point of discussion. If a foreigner starts to talk to me about politics, I just tell them point blank, that's a subject I really don't discuss. Hoppa, Mike Ross, she's missed so much in the 10 years that she's been at OFW, and plus her parents are getting older. Yeah, I mean, Hoppa, that's a lot like Arlene. Arlene was, her mother's already passed away when Arlene was younger. So she just has her father, a younger brother, all right, and a older sister and a younger sister. So Mike Dowdy says, my wife don't want to live in the U.S., but she don't like the cold. She thought she would until we went back in the winter. Yeah, and there is a lot about the U.S. So John says, brother, I own my own house here, car, truck, plus motorcycle. I would travel to the Philippines after my probation. Well, you know what, John? I think you're fucked up already. All right. Now, I know the legal system is incredibly difficult, but, there are people that get in trouble for reasons that maybe, I don't know. I have nothing on that. But, probation is probation, and you may not be able to come to the Philippines. It may not be a reportable offense, but you are supposed to report it as well upon entry that you've been arrested for a felony. All right. And,
And depending on what the crime is, he may not be able to. When he petitions for a K-1 visa, they may not accept it, depending on what he was was charged with.
Absolutely.
So he may not. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff. Kel says, I live far away from other foreigners here in Bicol, and I enjoy it. And you know something? A lot of people do. Not every Filipino in the United States lives in a major Filipino area. They don't have a huge group of Filipinos that they get together with. But the vast majority of them do. In LA, there is a huge Filipino community. In Chicago, there is a huge Philippine community. In Vegas, there's a huge Philippine community. And they are very, very much involved with each other.
Yeah, there's a lot of Filipinos. I'm in LA, LA area.
Yeah,
there's a whole lot of them.
Absolutely.
And
you'll notice they're centralized in a certain area.
Yeah, a lot of Asians live in Monterey Park, mostly Chinese, but there's some Filipinos there. And I lived for a while. I lived in downtown in Little Tokyo, But even though they called it Little Tokyo, there's a lot of people from Korea, China. You know, it was a very nice area.
Yep.
I lived there for about 4 or 5 years.
Mike
But
touches on a real positive truth is that it's an understatement. Philippines isn't cheap, but it's more affordable than the U.S. And that's going to depend on your lifestyle and everything else. But yeah, and it takes some adapting as well. Brian 300, welcome to
yeah,
the club,
you have
Mike.
to go with out of stock, and one of the things that kind of gets some foreigners is like if you're at a table with about 4 or 5 people, and in the United States they bring all your food out at once. In the Philippines, they don't do that. They just bring out whatever's ready first.
Yeah.
And they might bring out one plate, then they bring out 2 plates, and it kind of shocks some foreigners. But the good news is that, like, say for instance, if there's a table with 20 foreigners and their girlfriends and their wives are there, and you say, if you're in the Philippines and you say, we would like separate checks, the waitress has no problem with that. You try that in the United States, the waitress have a fit. They don't want to write separate checks.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
I think the waitress in the Philippines realize that they'll probably get better tips if they write separate checks, and they have no problem with it.
Brian
But,
300 says, welcome to the club. Brian 300 says, welcome to the club. I've been banned on many channels. They can't handle the truth. Actually, I've only been banned on one channel, and this one channel actually banned me once before over a misunderstanding. Now they banned me, and I have no idea why. So, whatever. If Jasper bans everyone on his channel, Pablo, I go to Jasper once in a while, and I've never been banned on his channel. There you go. Have a nice day. I watched an interview of 2 guys a while ago. One guy was talking about his dating, and the comment was he was sponsoring a college girl and had shit-eating grin. You know what? Good for him. Whatever works for him. You know something? That happens in the U.S. all the time. There are actually websites, sugar babies, sugar daddies, this and that. People need to... I wonder sometimes if people are so fucking sheltered, they don't realize that whatever it is that you want to complain about or criticize in the Philippines often happens in their own country. Okay? It does. All right? And yet we see them all doing this. I don't, you know something? First off, I'm a big proponent of pay for play. I am a firm believer of it, and people can argue all they want. For men, it is an excellent method of just not wasting time. For women, they may not have a choice in how they feed their child tonight. And you know something? There are as many bad reasons as there are positive reasons. That doesn't mean I think men should. That doesn't mean I think they should take advantage. But what I am saying is I just don't have a fucking issue with it. I really don't. And to be honest with you, they should legalize it and tax the living crap out of it. I mean, I don't know if they're going to tax it one stroke at a time or they're going to tax it upon the event, but whatever it is, they should legalize it, control it, regulate it, make it less life-threatening, and then tax it. You could probably cut the deficit in any country by 10% if you legalize. Well, actually, there are countries where it's legalized. It's legal in the UK. All right. It's not legal to have a brothel, but they can be individual. All right. But either way, no big deal. Kel says, same here in Pangasin. In fact, yesterday I took my daughter and her classmates to lunch, and a bunch of expats were at the next table, but they didn't talk to me. And you know, Hapa, I don't know. We don't approach Westerners. We don't approach them. And a lot of times we don't approach them because sometimes we don't want to intrude upon what they may be having as a private life. Some of these guys are here, they're cheating on their wives, and there's a girl at the table, and they don't want to be approached by anybody. Mike Dowdy, didn't they just deport a guy from Palawan who had a record? Yeah, they've deported quite a few people here lately. Aloha, Brian 3000. There's a difference between arrested for a felony and convicted of a felony. Yeah, there is.
Yeah.
All right, but if you're on probation, then you were convicted. Okay? Yeah. If you're on probation, you weren't just arrested, you were convicted. That's what we were talking about. We got some over here where I live. Okay, Bill. Jacksonville, Florida, and Norfolk. Yeah, you know what, Mike? There is a large Filipino. I don't know about Jacksonville, but I do know that in Norfolk there's a large Filipino community. Brian says, I live in the Bay Area, which is the highest Filipino population in the U.S. You know what, Brian? I'd like to know where you found that data. I really would. Because I have searched high and low through the U.S. statistics about where the highest percentage of green cards are. And I can get that. But what I can't get is all the ones that have become U.S. citizens. All right? You can't get the census data broken down by U.S. citizen nationality. Or that I could anyway.
Well, I think some of it is considered Pacific Islander. Like sometimes you like say for instance, if you wanted to look at the racial makeup of Malibu, and it'll tell you a certain percentage of Caucasians, a certain percentage of African Americans, but it'll say, Pacific Islanders. And I think there's only maybe 2% over there. But now if you went to, some in the South Bay, it's probably a majority of Asians that live in that area. Some of the signs are written in Chinese.
Oh. Just got a super sticker from Brewmeister. Thank you so much for the contribution, Brew. I really appreciate it. We certainly do. Hope you're having a great day. You know what? Pacific Islanders in the U.S. Census is designed, it's changed over the years. At one time, Pacific Islanders included Samoa, parts of Myanmar, parts of the Myanmar, the Philippines, and a couple of other areas as Pacific Islanders. Now they've broken them down into actual countries. So you can...
okay.
Yeah, they changed that, I don't know, maybe 5, 7, 8 years ago, last I looked.
Now, the other thing you were talking about... people with a criminal record. Now, I have a SRRV, and during the process when I was getting it, I realized, you can't. If you have a criminal record, I don't think you can get one of those.
You can.
I don't have a criminal record, so I got my SRRV.
All right, so I have a 13A, which has the same background checks as an SRRV. So you go down to the National Bureau of Investigation, you get biometrics done. What they do is they run what Interpol calls it a green list. Okay, if you don't appear on that list, the Philippines uses it amongst all of these other countries as well. All right. So the U.S. puts in people, everybody else puts in these people, and these are people that are wanted for XYZ. Then there's another list that NBI checks, all right, and that's the registered sex offenders list in the country that you come from. Not every country has a registered sex offenders list, but the US certainly does. All right. You can Google where you live and it'll show you every registered sex offender within a 20-mile radius or whatever. But anyways, it's there. So, for
Yeah,
Ian,
because I don't have a criminal record, and they fingerprint you,
yep.
and the NBI uses a old fashioned ink, but now the PNP, they have live scan, so you put your finger on the little doodad, and it's electronic.
Yeah, now
You know, you put your
NBI now
finger each
has
finger.
NBI does them both. They use the old
Oh, okay.
fingerprints, but 2 years ago, 3 years ago, um, when I got my biometrics done from R13A, they have the electronic fingerprint scans as well. But I think it's new for them, or it was then. All right, because they were still having trouble with it and everything else. So John says that I can travel to the Philippines, just law here. If you're on probation, you can't get a passport to leave USA until done with probation. Once done, I can go. Yeah, but John, is that you able to travel, or have you checked to see whether you're legal to get into the Philippines? That might be part of it. Mike Ross says, I think you're right. They go to the USA to earn a better living, and then we come to the Philippines to spend our money. Absolutely. And again, thank you to Brewmeister for that super chat and super sticker. We really appreciate it.
Hey, Mike, you don't have to go into major detail, but as far as getting that 13A, can you give a brief kind of rundown? I'm going to be getting one of those here probably in a year or so, but
Yeah. Actually, it's a very, let me
straightforward.
get that out of your face. I apologize.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually, she has to apply just like you.
Okay.
All right. And you get a background check. They check your documents, everything else. Very straightforward, very simple, very easy. All right. Then your first 13A is probationary. So that's good for a year. And then at the end of that year, you renew it. Okay. And when you renew it, they check with her to make sure you can still be sponsored by her. All right. So in other words, she can say, no, I don't like this guy anymore. But it's a real, it was, you go to NBI, they want to take a look at a couple of other, it's really a very simple process. Mm-hmm. It really and truly is. Although, I mean, I got to be honest with you. A lot of the things that people complain about here, I find to be a simple process. It's not fast. It's not expedient. It's not one-stop shopping. It's not available in every town. I mean, Census Style, you lived in Dumaguete, and you applied for, are you saying that as far as all of your renewals, all your visa stuff, everything that happens, there was an office right there in Dumaguete for applying, Philippine Retirement Authority.
Yeah.
Everything was right there. So you didn't have to go anywhere.
Well, now to get the SR, well, there's a place, that handles it for you, because a lot of documents have to go to Manila when you get your SRV, and I forgot the name of it, but it's right next door to, well, unless it's moved. It's been a while since I've been there, but it was right next, JRC. That's the name of it, JRC, and you go there, and they kind of handle everything. You go to a doctor and you do your physical. You have to go to your barangay and get a document from the barangay captain there. It's a lot of documents. Then you got to go to the MBI. Then you got to go to the PNP, and then the PNP will charge you. I think it's like 50 pesos to do the live scan. And I said, okay, I got 50 pesos here. And they, no, 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 you have to go down there to Louis' ear and type in this, have them type in this code and pay them, and then they will send the money to the PNP,
Yeah,
and then
but
you get your documents, your receipt. Then you come over here. You have to do all that. It's
right.
kind of like how the Philippines is.
So,
And
but my point with that is, no, it's not there. You have to pay somebody to get it all done. All right, like where I live,
well,
I
you
didn't have to do that.
You could,
unless you want to leave,
you could send it all in.
Unless you want to leave it out, all right,
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I don't think you have to leave town, but you would have to handle a lot more, a lot more of the documents and everything, and sending it in, because once you get everything, they kind of walk you through it, I guess you could say.
Right. So, but
And
I
they
mean,
walk you
so
through
there's
it, and
no
then they send
actual
the documents in.
So, but what I'm saying is, there's no actual Philippine Retirement Authority office in Dumaguete. You would have to go to Cebu,
No,
or you would have
just
to go.
immigration.
Yeah.
But you're
And
not dealing with immigration. You're dealing with them. Yeah.
Yeah,
You're right.
I get it.
So they send it all in. Oh, well, okay. I had during the pandemic. Well, just before the pandemic, when they shut everything down, I went to Cebu City to the U.S. consulate to renew my passport, and everything went good. And they said, "Okay, we're going to send it to you." But
Right.
then, due to the pandemic, it took a long time for me to get my passport, my new passport, and I couldn't renew my. I was on tourist status at time, and I couldn't renew it with the old passport. And of course, they punch holes through it. And so, and they said, well, when you get your new passport, bring it in. Well, it was a while, but I still had plenty of time on my 36 months. I didn't have to leave town because I just went to Malaysia and Singapore. And so when it finally came, then I went over there and had it renewed. So I had to bring 2 passports in, because one had the original when I arrived.
Yeah.
And then I had another passport that was actually valid. And
Right.
immigration didn't have any problem with that. However, when I had to get the SRRV, I had to have JRC send both passports in to Manila, and then they transferred documents into my new passport, and then I had to go from there. So,
but my point,
everything has to be
right.
okay,
But my point with all of that wasn't getting it done. My point was, depending on where you live, you may not be able to get it done by walking down the street into an office. And just so you know, census style.
No, but I think
even
you
here,
send it all in.
Yeah, even here, I have access to everything. When we have, SRV office, we have a Philippine retirement office, we have everything here, but I use a service, because I don't want to go to different places. But it doesn't have to go to Manila. But either way, so Brian says he used to live in Menlo Park for 10 years. Yeah, the bay's nice. I really. There you go. Have a nice day. How did this guy get out of the U.S. convicted of a felony? Don't know. Have no idea. All right, something I just can't comment on. Jacksonville and
I think
Norfolk have
you'd
naval
have to
bases.
talk to an attorney.
You
Yeah,
can get out if you've
Yeah,
been
you'd
convicted
probably have
of
to talk to an
felony, you can
attorney
still
about
get a
that.
passport.
right. You can get out. The government doesn't give a shit where you go. It's whether you can get into where you're going.
Yeah, and that's only if they check if they run you through. They don't run through everybody that lands. It's only if they
Um,
check
no, they have
when
an
they.
I don't
automatic.
know. I don't think you can do it. I don't think if you have a felony, I don't think the Canadians will let you in.
Yeah, no, you're
They
right.
might not let you in.
I got to tell you right now, no, there's a lot of countries that won't let you in with a felony. I'll tell you a story right now. I was looking when I started our medical business. All right. When I switched from clinical medicine to business, all right, medicine. And when I started that, we got big and we got big fast. And so I needed a state of the art future medical radiology information system. Now, in Vancouver, or in Canada, there is one of the best that you can buy, one of the biggest, from a company called McKesson. Huge Canadian company. And they said, we'd like you to buy our software. It was expensive, very expensive. We'll fly you up here. We want to show it to you. All right. Let you spend time with our developers, let you spend time with our applications people. And I said, well, I want to bring my brother because he was my information guy. My at the time, my chief information technology. So I bring my brother. I flew a day in advance to meet some friends and have dinner. My brother flies the next day. I get a call at the office of McKesson, all right, saying we've got a problem at the airport with your brother. So when my brother was young, he was in the Army, got out of the Army, went back to college, but somebody broke into his car and he had a briefcase in there and it had checks. And somebody wrote a bunch of checks. He finally got them cleared up, but unbeknownst to him, there was one bounce check that just didn't show up. And they took him to court without telling him, said they served him, but they didn't. And he actually was convicted, but never knew it. He actually had a warrant out from like 20 years back.
Wow.
All right. And when he flew into Canada, into Vancouver, boom, they caught it right then and there. And it literally took a ton of talking to get them to understand what actually transpired. So, yes, there are countries that definitely, I mean, here in the Philippines, they're barcode scanning, not barcode, but digitally scanning those passports. Yeah. I do think they check them.
Yeah.
Pacific Islands are the Samoans, the people around that area, not Filipino. Not anymore. You're right. The first thing I learned when I came to the Philippines was to always have options when dining out. Not available, out of stock. Yep. Let me just catch up on some comments here. 3.4 million Filipinos in the U.S. Yep. Lots of them. 1.6 million, I don't know, in California. Uncle Jesse says he has a 13A and he has a felony. Maybe he does. I don't know. I have no idea. Maybe he had a felony and it's been expunged. I mean, that's my, you just never know. After living here in the Philippines for the past 13 years, I've learned to have patience. Indeed, Appa. Mike Dowie. 2 American pedophiles caught in Mactan, Cebu airport. I thought that was one American and one from another country. I don't think they were both American, but I don't know. He's a creep and a predator. My opinion, of course. Okay. When talking to Filipinos, I've had to learn. NBI has a live scan now. I just did exit clearance at the main office. There you go. And they were doing live scans before. So I guess now they've implemented it all the way across the board. Thanks, Mike. Pablo, it's different for sure. Los Angeles County alone accounts for over 374,000 Filipinos, the most of any single country in the U.S. County in the U.S. Mike, that's from Google. The Bay Area is number 2 now. Wow. All right, so these are people that I don't know, Brian. You know what? I would have to take a look at it. I wonder how they account for that. Is these Filipinos that are on green cards? Are these Filipinos that are dual citizens now? I don't know. Mike saying I've been sarcastic. Most countries won't let you in. When I start a store in the Philippines, I'm going to name it Out of Stock. There you go, Just Fact. That's funny. Yeah, it's called dumbing down.
Well, there is a singing group, a Filipino singing group in Dumaguete, and the name of the band is Out of Stock.
Oh. You know what? There you go. Have a nice day. You have to get your documents apostille. So, just so you know, if you're in the U.S. and you need to get something apostille, or if you're in the Philippines and you need to get something that's in the U.S. apostille, it's very easy to do. There are at least 4 companies. All right. You send them the documents. You send them everything. They put everything together. They take it to, in our case, they took it to the embassy in San Francisco, I think it was, or somewhere in California. They take it there and they get it apostilled. And then they DHL those documents right here. In another instance, we had to go get something apostilled that was sitting at the Department of Foreign Affairs here, all right, in San Fernando. And that was simple to do too. So, and just so those of you that aren't aware, an apostille is an internationally accepted form of notary. An American, notarized American documents mean nothing here. Nothing at all. They have to be apostille. Just follow the check. Yeah, Cal, the 13A was simple, easy to do. Dowdy, Uncle Jesse, perfect example of the age gap situation. I don't agree with. He's groomed and uses her poverty as a leverage. I don't know. It seems like they're both pretty poor to me, but I don't really watch them, so I really and truly don't know. More common than you think, these far-flung villages. Might be. Dave says, for those who said hi to me, back at you, I was on my way home from the cigar lounge. Now I'm back. I'd love to cam up and give my 2 cents on the age gap, but it's up to the good doc. Sure, let me post that again for anybody else that wants to join in. And as we get more people, we may have to start putting the timer up. So, just the way it is. Can the 13A be revoked after the probation? Yes, absolutely, Lex. Absolutely. Oh, after. Can the 13A be revoked after the probationary? Yes, for all kinds of reasons. If you separate from your Filipina, revoke. If she dies, revoked. You are only good. That 13A is only good as long as you live with that woman. Exactly. He's a creep, but he has guys that follow him, want to be, and yeah, you know, that kind of works the same way. 2 people can't talk at the same time. Yes, Brian. All right. Mike, focus on the conversation, my humble opinion. Yes, indeed. Yeah, I should not have gone off base there. You're correct, Jan. For anything SRV, get a PRA approved marketer. Mine handled original. Met once in Makati. Now she handles my yearly renewal all online. And Gcash, easy peasy. I'm on a different island as Luzon. Yeah, you know what? It is there. All right, it's there, and it looks like since the style is frozen up, so we'll knock that down and we'll pull that back, and there we go. YouTube legal advice is the best. Oh no, Jim. YouTube legal advice is the worst. Absolute worst. And you know it. And I appreciate that sarcasm. I got a friend with a felony has been to the Philippines 6 times. Yeah, so it depends. It depends on what it is. All right. There are some felonies that you are not supposed to be here with. There are certain felonies that you just can't. Tino, is Ricky Veliz a predator? Your opinion, please, gents. Well, that sounds like somebody's trolling to kill Rique, but fine. We'll let it stand. Per Aj Kapor, I brought my Filipino to the West 20 years ago. Never had money or emotional, physical infidelity is issues, but raising a child with our culture is challenging. Yeah, I wonder, you know what? I wonder what that would be like. Because there's definitely, even recently, when my wife's nieces were here, their idea of guidance, and when I say guidance, their idea of structuring right and wrong, okay, is somewhat different than mine.
I have a 10-year-old. I have a 10-year-old daughter, and we don't have a problem. Well, I mean, some people do. I'm just saying, just in my situation, but I guess it can go. I
You
guess
have
it
a
can go both ways.
Yeah. I
I have
mean,
a 10-year-old daughter.
it's all different. It's
Yeah, it's all,
different, you know.
depends on the parents, kind of how you guys.
It is, and you
Okay.
have to understand. I mean, these nieces are from the province, and I mean the real province, a poor province. So, parenting there is very very minimalized. It really and truly is. Pablo
I'm
says,
actually. I'll be there in March, Mike. I'll be there in March because I'm bringing her back to America.
great, great.
So,
Oh yeah, raising
and
a
her.
child would be difficult. Did your kid go to a U.S. school? That must have helped. Um, it must have helped. My daughter's in the U.S. Always been. Please have an awesome day, night. Please be positive, productive. Okay, Elvis, take care. Oh, hi, Dave. Dave is trying to join us now. Let me put him in there, and then put him right there. How you doing, Dave? Oh, can't hear you, Dave.
Can you hear me now?
Now I hear you.
Okay.
So
Can
can
you see me?
everybody else. So Ruby says Australia is very strict at immigration. Regardless of whether you're a celebrity, they can deny entry to. Sylvester Stallone realized that when he was found having illegal drugs in his possession. You know what? Didn't was it Leonardo DiCaprio? No. What's his name? Jack Sparrow.
Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp. Didn't Johnny Depp get in trouble in Australia over that also? I don't know. I know that there have been several Americans, celebrities that have gotten trouble. I have a Filipino wife that is Catholic and I'm Jewish. There's never been an issue. We met on Christian Filipino. There you go. And I don't think there's anything wrong with any of that. How much rice do you want? Mike, if that was a picture of your wife on the wall, I was going to get a ticket and be there the next day. No, that was not Arlen. Okay? Trust me, it was not.
Arlen looks better.
I'm half American, Japanese, and the reason why my parents moved to Hawaii after my father's military is because of the racial discrimination that my mother received in the U.S. Wow. So your mother was Japanese, Hapa? Is that what it is? And she was discriminated against in the mainland? No, I think you're in Anchorage, aren't you, Dave?
Yeah, I'm in Anchorage, and I wanted to address that to Pablo Chicano. No, I'm not in Fairbanks. I would not be caught dead in the wintertime in Fairbanks there, man.
Is it worse in Fairbanks than Anchorage?
Yeah, well, last week it was minus 20, 23 below zero out here. So I can imagine what it was like out there in Fairbanks. So
Wow.
I'm not freezing my ass off out there, man.
So
Pablo,
Alex,
I'm in there. I'm here.
Alex is here. Alex Bam Bam is in. Good morning, Alex. Thanks for joining. Yes, Johnny
Hey,
Depp
Mike.
and his girlfriend got
Sorry.
booted.
Probably shitting in a
Yeah,
bed
she
or
did.
something like
Not
Yeah.
booted. I'm sorry. Johnny Depp and his girlfriend. Yeah, that's what it was. The dog that they didn't quarantine. I remember that now. I really and truly do. I do remember that. So,
Hey, Mike, I'm going to eat and I'll come back if you guys are still here. That's cool.
okay.
I just
Take
wanna-
care. Bye.
Okay, guys.
And then, all right. So now to fix Dave, I got to switch him over to guest one and then flip you like that. There you go.
that. Yeah.
And then we're going to put this link back up. So, Dave, you wanted to address age gap relationships.
I did. And first off, thanks for having me here. I don't have a dog in this race by any chance. And, I've never been married. I don't have any kids, no girlfriend or whatnot. So I'm just living the bachelor life here, unlike, a certain vlogger out there in Angela City, he's living that, vlogger life out there. But, I can imagine what kind of STDs he's got on his jacket there. So, um, uh, my reason for being out there is purely for my parents and parents alone there. If
Yeah.
I go out and and meet up with you or anybody else out there, it's hey, I want to meet up with these guys, preferably do an interview or whatnot, for my channel and whatnot, but other
people,
than that,
just so you don't know, let me interview. For those of you that
Yeah.
don't know Dave, I've actually met Dave. All right. And number two, he has a channel and he's getting started. And I'm going to tell you, it's going to be an incredible channel. I've looked at the investment of time and learning and equipment that Dave has put forth. The material that when he gets started putting it in hard and heavy, his material is going to be something that's just going to blow you away. So check out his channel. Okay, Dave, I'm so sorry.
well, I appreciate the plug there, Mike. Yeah, Doc, I always call you Doc there. So, but my whole thing about this whole age gap thing here, man. I have friends, and I have lifelong friends that have daughters that are in their early 20s, mid, or late 20s there, And I look at that and I said, me being 55, I just turned 55 last week. And so it's like, I just cannot see myself doing that there, man. I just have this moral code of just not going there. Even if I, it's just a moral code with me there. But, others out there, like Sly and the Family Stone sang back in the day, man, different strokes for different folks there. Man.
Yeah.
I
agree. I mean, I have a 21-year-old daughter.
Right.
And I look at, I look at the guy that she's involved with, and he's like 1 year older than she is. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. But I wonder to myself, man, I'm glad she's not involved with some 50-year-old guy.
Right.
Because
that 50-year-old guy could be somebody like me. I'm not going to say, but I just said it, but could be somebody like me or somebody that you don't know.
Yeah, but then I'm being so hypocritical. All right. Because here I am with a 30 some odd old wife at
But
You
don't
know,
you think at that same time, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but don't you think at the same time, at your age, your late 60s, almost pushing 70 there, hey, you lived your life. I don't give a damn what anybody else out there says. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to do me, you
right.
know?
And I don't. All right. It's just that I sit there and I go, if it's okay for me, why is it not okay for my daughter? Why do I
Right.
feel that way?
Hmm.
So I don't know.
Right.
It
But,
simply is what it is.
that, like I said, to me, it just goes down to, it just boils down to a moral code there.
Yeah,
Um, uh, you look at my parents, they've been married for 55 years, but, mom, she's 82, dad's 80. So
yeah,
is there an age gap there? No.
yeah. But
But,
exactly,
right.
exactly.
So,
So
but it was a different time back then. You don't see a lot of marriages lasting, that long there. So, kudos to mom and dad there.
right. Well, so all right. Now let me ask you a question. When you make your final move,
Yeah.
all right, because you intend to move to the Philippines, retire to the Philippines, you've said.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. So when you may, will you associate with other expats or will you try and stay away from them?
I want to associate with expats that I feel comfortable with. I.e., when we met, very comfortable with you there. You know what I'm saying? I haven't met Mike from Mike's Philippine Journey yet, but I feel comfortable with him if he makes that move over there, because we've had conversations.
Right.
Nate, of course, because number one, he's an army brother and all that. So I've had conversations with him there, and of course, the brand manager for Garo there, Miyagi. I work for this guy,
Yeah.
so I feel very comfortable with it. So that's that. I keep that circle very, very, very tight there.
But
Outside of that,
would you avoid places that have expats? I mean, you can always avoid interaction, but would you avoid places?
I don't know if it's impossible to avoid places that expats frequent there, because number one, you want to go frequent that same joint also, but at that same time, when you meet those other expats out there, well, 10 times out of 10, they're going to approach you and it's like, hey, how you doing? You're from the United States or from Australia or whatever, it's like, yeah, whatever, I'm just here to have a drink, smoke a cigar and God knows what. So there's that right there. So, you're at, I don't want to say you're at a bind or whatnot, but it's like, okay, this guy struck up a conversation, but you just don't know what his ulterior motive there is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you
So,
don't. You
yeah,
don't know, and that is a really solid statement. You
right.
don't know what they're.
Mhm.
Some men, I got to be honest with you, I have been approached by
Right.
some men who you can tell they're just lonely.
Right.
They're
Right.
they're looking to talk to somebody. They're just bored. All right.
Mhm.
And those are the guys you got to really watch out for because you never know what the hell is going on.
Well, you do have to have your head on a swivel there, man. I mean, the lonely guys or the ones that are on some sort of angle out there. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, can you lend me, 1,000 pesos or 2,000 on up there, and I'll get you for my next retirement check. Yeah,
Right.
fuck out of here with that. You know.
Now Ruby says, I feel that way because it's the dad in you. Yeah, Ruby, I'm sure that's what it is. All right. I think, I hate to say it, but I think that I've just got so much invested mentally in trying to prepare my daughter for the real world that I don't want that to be stymied or I don't want it to be blunted or whatever. And, but at the same time, then I would wonder, how good is the guy my daughter's currently dating, who's 1 year difference. Okay. And then I finally sit there and realize at some point, you have to let your children drive their own lives. And that's a decision I made with my daughter 5 years ago. And she does. And she's done very, very well as far as I'm concerned. But, I can't help but feel that way about the age gap with her. But I'm such a hypocrite because I don't feel that way about it as far as I'm concerned.
The one thing I want to interject on this one, the one thing that really, pisses me off or chaps the hide or just rattles my cage is, when these guys go to the Philippines there and they meet the woman of their dreams, the so-called woman of their dreams there, and lead with the wallets in there. And who knows what these ladies have been doing job-wise over there. And say, well, they suggest them to quit that job and support them, this, that, and that. You want to do that, fine. But, if no woman of mine is going to lay up on her ass and not do a goddamn thing. I'm sorry. Hey, you in this relationship, hey, you're going to do something. You're going to do something. You're not going to sit on your ass and, get fat off my check here. You know what I'm saying?
No.
That's just my thing right there. And
yet I wonder sometimes, Dave, do some men push that decision, that narrative, because they can't function without them. So they don't want them out going and getting a job. All right. And I'm like, I agree with you. There's no way I would allow Arlen to sit around on the couch, eat bonbons, and watch Korean dramas all day. That would not be an option in our household. It wasn't an option in the United States, and it's not going to be an option here. And she stays very active with other things that pertain to our household and our life and our finances. What a lot of people don't recognize, when you die, all right, let's just take a look at it from a realistic perspective. Okay, there are two categories here that certainly pertain. The people with money who die and the people that really don't have money that die. So the people with money that die, do they leave money for their wife's future? Yes. Okay.
Give me a minute here. I got to get something right quick. I'm
sure.
Sorry.
Yeah. So for everybody that's listening, okay, but do you leave money? How do you leave them? And then for the people without excess cash, all right, what are you leaving them? Nothing. So how are you preparing for that? That's an issue. One of the things, and I'll take shit for this. I know I'll get it. All right. Arlen's financial position when I pass away will be very reasonable. Okay. And what I teach her now is how to sustain that money. In fact, Ruby recently was talking about, hey, people should do like a financial seminar for Filipinas or teaching Filipino women how to take care of money. Yes, they should. And, that's what we do. So, I mean, I can't give it a hither, tither, there, yonder situation. When Dave gets back, he'll call back in. Eric says, mine's going into caregiving when she gets here and gets a work permit. She just graduated from the caregiver school. Okay, so Eric, was that a caregiver school in the Philippines or a caregiver school in the U.S.? I have a feeling you're talking about in the Philippines. Mike, if they have lots of money, they should have a trust. Pablo, yes. Well, maybe. It depends on how well educated they are in those finances. I can't imagine anybody trying to tell somebody like Ruby, you know what? You shouldn't have control. You know, your money should be in a trust and it should be doled out to you. I'd like to hear Ruby's reaction to that. Michael, my wife's degree as a midwife is not valid. No, it's not valid in the U.S. She's been working in my friend's fast food restaurant for 9 years. She does not think the job is beneath her. I make enough to pay the bills. There you go. I mean, yes, it's a shame, all right? But no, her midwifery in the U.S. requires a totally different situation. The problem is, Mike, most Americans aren't financially educated. You know, JG, you're right. You're very, very correct. A lot of Americans, all right, and I would I would say a lot of people, all right, it's not just Americans, but a lot of people are not financially educated. Eric said Ormoc City. Phil, Filipino Americans are fairly widely dispersed in the United States. California holds the largest settlement, followed by Hawaii, Nevada, Texas, Illinois. Yep. Yeah, they are. And they congregate in certain sections of those states. I agree from being retired in law enforcement that I'm not comfortable with expats or foreigners. Okay, that's not a problem. Just facts. All right. As a law enforcement agent in the past, though, wouldn't you be uncomfortable with just about everybody? Isn't your guard naturally up? Just a question. If the man doesn't have money, he should think about taking her to his country so she could be entitled to his pension. Well, I don't know, Phil. There are a lot of caveats to that. All right. Certainly he should do whatever he can do to ensure she has a future, but it's not as easy as just bringing her to the U.S. It really isn't. But you know what? It also probably has something to do with what country he's from. It says, if you do leave a sizable inheritance for your Filipina and she's not a U.S. citizen, where does she put it in the Philippines with limited investment options besides real estate? Oh, you know what? Right now, I can go to the bank and get 5.75% APY, all right, in Philippine CDs. All right. There's a lot of opportunities, but you know what? This goes back to what we said earlier. A lot of people are not financially educated. You have to look at it. Ruby says, if the Filipina isn't financially educated, then a trust fund or annuity would be good for them. Otherwise, that money would be gone in a jiffy. And Ruby's correct. If they don't know how to handle that money, if they aren't able to do it, then I think an annuity would probably be the easiest, but a trust may be the best. Phil says Daly City in the San Francisco area has the highest content of Filipino Americans in any municipality in the U.S. I don't know, Phil. It might. I don't like these aggressive expats that try and tell their Filipinos what to do, boss them around, and overall treat them like shit. Seems like many of them are American. You know, Mark, maybe because, and first off, let me say, I agree. I agree that women are equal. All right. Men and women are equal and should be treated as equals. And yes, you do see these bloggers, and some of them do treat their women, their partners. I don't like using that word, their women, their partners in that manner. All right. And I would say, I agree. They're pieces of shit if that's the way they do it. All right. On the other hand, I would also say that they have to be able to have a conversation with that woman to get their point across, one that's not degrading or manipulative. Eric Sherman says, caregiver OFW have to take to work in Canada. Okay. Oh, Mike's Philippine journey. Hey, Mike, welcome to the channel. Talking about all kinds of off the wall stuff. We're talking about age gap. We're talking about bring your Filipina to the U.S. We're talking about whether you should associate with other expats. Interesting concept. Dave was here just a little bit ago, but he had to leave. John says, I tried to talk my Filipino about money and savings. She was dismissive. Yeah, John. She works at a plywood factory, isn't making much. And when I get there later this year, I hope to show her how to save for the future. And that's one of your responsibilities, John. That's a responsibility you have. You have a responsibility as a partner in a relationship to teach them. Hi, buy some Jollibee stocks. There you go. That's an idea, Mike. If expats have a big age gap, let me just post this up if anybody wants to join in. All right. If expats have a big age gap with their partner and not have sizable inheritance, then she'll be able to set herself financially in the future. If an expat has a big age gap with their partner and not have a sizable inheritance, then she'll be able to set herself financially in the future. Okay. Most people work from paycheck to paycheck, nothing left to invest. Yes, short load, they do. And that's a terrible thing. My pension from a local government would have been good for my Filipino wife, whether I brought her to the USA or not. But now she can get Social Security either from hers or mine. She says, yeah, Michael, and that's a big plus. All right. She has so many quarters in to get U.S. Social Security, and she can get yours as well. Survivor benefit. The problem with CDs from Philippine Bank is that they're only insured $10K from the FDIC equivalent, but maybe you can purchase additional insurance. No, you don't need to do that. You buy your CDs in denominations of 10K. Buy 40 of them. You can buy 40 of them. In fact, what you should do is you should buy 5, and then the next month 5 more, and then the next month 5 more. All right, so that they all rotate expirations. Sorry, Doc. Package just arrived. As soon as I got to my computer, it got kicked out. Thanks so much for having me. Oh, you're welcome, Dave. Feel free to join again. It's not a problem. There's a lot of men treat like shit, and I hate seeing that. Treat them like you want to be treated. Yeah. I hear it's trending to have a kid at 70 to get a bump. I don't think having a kid bumps up your Social Security. I don't think so. I know I'm not going to have one if it does. Hapa. When you bring your Filipina in your country, oops, forgot to add that. There you go, Ruby. It was confusing me. Thank you. Thank you. There are many Filipinas living in the Philippines that know how to save, make money, and really hustle. Link up with these types of Pines and she'll save you money. There might be. Okay? But you know something? Are they... yeah, there you go, Corey. It's called a CD ladder. Yeah. I don't know what you call it. That's just, one of the processes that we have. But getting back to what Mike was saying, there are many Filipinos living in the Philippines that know how to save, make money. Sure, but you can always get more. Mike says you can get a dependent stipend from Social Security. Wow. I did not know that. Nope, I didn't know it. Not at all. That's interesting. You think that men actually have children just so they can get a bump in their Social Security? You think that that bump is actually enough to offset the expense of a child? That must be a hell of a bump, I would think. So, but I think a few Duma vloggers are having kids all at 65 years. Oh, I've got news for you. I mean, Mike, I don't, let me see the best way to rephrase this. I think that there are a lot of men that are 65 plus that get women pregnant. I think I don't know if they do it here for money, but I'm certain it happens. Being sarcastic. If I remember correctly, it is 1/2 your security for a child under 15. Wow. That's pretty impressive. My daughter was way over the age of 18 before I started, when I started to collect Social Security. Yes, having a kid gives you extra security if you're age 62 and above and have started. It's a sizable amount relative to the cost of raising a child. I told Philo to look into it. Wow. Hey, Lex, have you seen Philo lately? I haven't seen him in months. Eric says, I doubt it's enough. Love your mug. You like my mug? My what's his name? I'm trying to remember his name now. He's a Disney character. Olaf. Yeah. So my daughter got me that. I've had this mug for many years now. Many years. So if you'd like to get on the panel and discuss any of this, and you're willing to cam up to talk about it, then please, the link is right there. Please join up. Phil says that child must have a USA, UK, Canada passport. Okay. So there are some, sure, there are going to be some requirements. That makes sense. I'm 62. There's no way I'm thinking of having a child with someone again. No way. Simple Man's Journey. How you doing? Good afternoon. Welcome. Yeah, you know what? Like I said, we had the nieces here, and I don't think I could go through raising that age group again on a daily basis. They're good for a couple of days, 3-4 days. Then it's nice to get rid of them. Brian says you're supposed to be having grandkids at 65, not sons or daughters. There you go. Mike's like, I hope my kids never leave. Their future husbands can move in with the wife and I. You know, Mike, I tell you, it's tough, isn't it? It's tough. It's tough to let your kids become adults. It's difficult. Sad thing is, Filipinos don't save for rainy days. Oftentimes they do not. Oh, Simple Man's Journey. Thank you very much. Thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you. That will go into our fund, and we use that. Just so you guys know, anything and everything that we make off of YouTube, which is not much at all, trust me, we're such a small channel, it goes into our charitable situations. Okay? Equipment, software, all of that stuff, I buy it straight up. All of the YouTube money is a charitable issue that we give in relation to people that we know that need the money in the province, schools, fire department, police department, that kind of stuff. Just so you know. They don't make enough to have anything left over to save, Tim, but I'm generalizing. Yeah, you know what, Mike? It's tough to save when you don't have money. John says the girlfriend is a 5-year-old. I'll deal with that. Yeah, I'm telling you though, John. John, have you raised children before? Have you ever had to deal with a 9-year-old daughter whose friends hate her? Oh my God. Females, children are like time bombs. Oh my, this one hates me, that one hates me. Wow. A Norwegian in Spoo has 9 kids, $400 per kid. Wow. That's interesting. Yeah, I found out YouTube gets a good percentage of the donations also. Yeah, they do. All right. YouTube takes 50% of what you guys give us. Nothing I can do about it. I mean, it is what it is. I don't know what it is. Why is this shirt hanging down? I got no idea. It looks tacky. Yeah, John says, so you know what I mean. You know just how quickly those little daughters can become drama queens. Wow. It gets there. It certainly does. So I think that just has a lot to do with everything that happens and everything that's going on. And, I don't mind the kids coming to visit. When I say the kids, Arlene's nieces coming to visit and staying with us and entertaining them for 3 days. But I don't think I could do it for 3 months or 3 years or whatever. All right. Again, I have one daughter, and I'm going to tell you, I poured a ton of time into her, and I don't regret a bit of it. I don't think I have that kind of energy anymore. Hoppa says, I think there's a generational gap in how we are raised as adults. Certainly they are. You know what? I can remember being young and being told, other older people saying, there's a generational gap. These young kids don't understand. All right. I can remember that. There's always that generational gap. Oh, let's see here. We have been graced with His Excellency's presence. My God.
What's up, man?
What's up, young man?
Up. Just waking up, man. Been kind of sleeping. So.
Oh my God. I tell you.
What's up, everyone?
Did you see my blog on the American that I saw at the bar yesterday?
I actually started watching that and then I fell asleep.
Okay. This guy, literally, we go into, I can't say, the girls at the bar know my blog, so I can't say it. All right. Mm-hmm. So we go into, Arlene's out of town. She's at the wedding. Okay. All right. Friends of mine say, hey, I was up at Envy getting some lunch. They have the best fried fish in town. All right. My friends say, hey, you know what? We're going to go to our favorite day bar. Mm-hmm. Come have a drink. And I said, you know what? I'll have a soda, but sure. Okay. So I meet them. Mm-hmm. In the meantime, one of and I've got a couple of girls buying drinks we're all buying, there's like 4 of us. Okay. Mm-hmm. One of the girls that we know is walking by, it's a long bar and they're from the front door to the back to the dressing room. Right. And I said, oh, and we'll call her Susie. Hey, when you get dressed, come on down and we'll buy you a drink. And she goes, oh, I can't, my boyfriend. Make a long story short. Okay. Some guy is visiting the Philippines. He's extended his stay. Okay. He cut a deal with the mama-san
Okay.
Right? He comes to the bar every day. He buys the girl a drink, maybe one or two of her friends, maybe
Okay.
even the mama san. All right. This is the
Mhm.
story I'm getting from the girls, right? And then bar finds her on a daily basis, 6 days a week. He pays full boat, 5,000 pesos a day,
Okay.
plus the lady drinks. All right. And he's a young man of color. I'd put him in his mid 40s. Um, Ruby says, good fish and chips at Envy. You know what, Ruby? It's not going to compare to what you're going to get in Australia, but for Angeles City, it's the best in town. But he's paying, I can't believe that. I mean, that's like 5,000 a day is 30,000 a week because she still gets her off day. All right.
Okay.
All right. So 6 times 5 is 30 times 4. All right. That's 120,000 a month.
It's $3,000 a month for the whole month.
Yeah. I mean, that's
if you went down
way
there.
out of balance, don't you think?
He could have gotten it maybe for like about 3,500 a day if he's going to do a long-term GFE.
I would think so. I would think he could have gotten the whole thing for 60 or 70% less.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I'm not 60. I mean, for 60 or 70%, of that amount. Certainly.
Yeah, she did the thing with she wanted to do the tour. I think that's what she was doing because she wants to like show off to everyone that someone's taking her out every night. So she's doing the tour. Like a lot of guys don't understand that. Like some of these girls will use you as a like, look, I've been chosen, and then they bring you back to the bar. They're literally the one that instead of the guys showing, hey, here's my girl. It's the girl saying, look, I got this guy coming back every day, right? So it's like pretty much to somehow make other girls jealous in a way. And it's it happens, I guess. But I mean,
I just thought
for
that
a
was
whole
crazy.
month.
Ace
Yeah,
Bachelors popped back in. Ace, if you're going to come in and promote your channel, cam up, old man. Come on. Cam
yeah,
up. In fact, Ace, cam up and tell us more about your little whiteboard chick. I want to know. Come on. So, but yeah, we were talking about, oh. Oh, no, it's Kenny. Kenny is joining. All right. Let's assign him a spot and we'll put him in there. There we go.
What's up, Ken?
To add a daughter, how cruel girls are. Yeah, hillbilly. Cruel girls' daughters can be. Now, Mike, you've got young family near you, nieces and nephews near you that
Yeah,
you visit with. So are they
nephews,
boys or girls?
all boys.
All boys.
Yeah,
Okay.
I have two goddaughters, so they're
Oh,
close by also.
so we were talking earlier about being like, what happens when you're 65, 70 years old and you're having kids, and then somehow we got off the subject about daughters, and daughters are like so much drama. Young daughters. I don't know how
Yeah,
young boys are, but young daughters can be so much drama. Their feelings get so hurt. But
yeah. My goddaughter, she's 13, and she's like, well, she's turning 13 this year, and she is 6'2".
holy crap.
Yeah,
How tall
I
are you?
mean, I'm 5'11".
Wow.
Yeah, she's 6'2", and like and so like I had to. I'm like, listen, I was like, are boys like this? And I was like, no. Like I'm more protective than her father, right? So it's like, yeah, it's just the craziest thing. Like she's a beautiful girl. She's Hawaiian, Filipino, Black, Samoan,
Oh, I thought you
and
were her
like
biological father.
so it's just the craziest thing of a mixture. So, but yeah, it's like stories I hear. I'm like, I'm just glad my nephews are boys.
I'll tell you, I had such a difficult time accepting my daughter dating. I mean, it really was difficult, but I wouldn't trade her for anything else in the world. 2 children and grown. Let me just book through these real quick. Plus being raised in the Western Asian multinational culture. Yeah, Hoppy, you're right. The government changed the rules and he's broke now with 9. Yep. There's Ace popping in, promote his channel, but won't come and talk to us. I guess he's too far. He's more important than we are. He's special. He's absolutely special. My MIL is my mother-in-law is trying to raise my granddaughter how she raised me and older, go back 30 years. We tried to explain to her, you can't change your ways. Good fish and chips. I thought Dave Renenzo popped up in the stream. I don't know David Morans. Hello, Hoppa, Ace. Daughter, hillbilly, trying to get a little bit caught up, folks. There we go. BDO CD rates are horrible, and the dollar account up to 500K. U.S. is only 0.5%. So BDO is making a killing. Difference between the current treasury rates, 5.2%. You know what, Lex? I have CDs, and I can't believe that the best you could find at BDO for a CD is 0.05%. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to disagree with that. I want to know if Mike got banned from the same channel as you. I don't know that. I didn't say. I just happened to say I found out yesterday.
Oh.
I verified yesterday that I'd been banned from a channel here in Angeles City. All right.
Roger that.
And I didn't say which channel it was. And it's funny, but it is what it is. And I mean, you know what? They don't want me to comment. That's fine. Great. Good for them. I think you've been banned from more than one channel, Mike.
Me, you know what? I don't go to other people's channels really and make a lot of comments. I've been banned maybe in Sunshine's channel. I know I was banned there. So that's that. What else gonna go on? But other than that, I don't really comment in other people's channels. I just, let it be. There's only like one channel that I comment a lot on. And even that channel I just stopped because it's like whatever. Let them be.
Yeah. So I don't know. Let's see here. So we were discussing age gap relationships, Mike. Bringing your Filipina to the U.S. And do you or don't you plan on associating with expats when you get here? So I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to let you take care of this for a few minutes and voice your opinion on that. I'll be back in about 3-4 minutes. I'm going to make a quick run to get coffee and more coffee. All right. And run to the restroom. I'll be right back.
Gotcha. So in my opinion, I've been making my notes on this particular subject that Mike brought up. For me wise, there's a lot of guys that say don't bring your woman back to the US. Okay. So, and I understand the dynamics. A lot of people talk about that, why that is something that could be, a lot of guys are fearful of the Americanization, the all of those brainwashing or whatever. But here's the thing, right? In the end, is the woman that you're bringing to the US a good woman? Because that woman right there, if you didn't choose the right woman, then more than likely she's going to change no matter what, because you can't you can't change a bad person. And even with that particular woman, if she is not good for your country, she's not going to be good for her country anyways. if you can't control her in your country, you're not going to control her in her country. So in the end, it's like it's not about should you or should you not bring a woman. It's are you capable of leading the woman the right way, right? And I think that we've talked about in this channel previously where you have to understand there is a death that occurs when you bring a woman to another country, and they will go through their stages of grief. There is a loss that they're going to have, and there's going to be a form of depression because they will have a depression. They gave up everything, and now these women are trusting you to lead them to the right area of things. And the worst part about it is if you kind of painted this picture for the woman of what it is in your country, but then when you bring that woman to your country, it's not what you kind of shown her it's going to be, so you lied to her, so now she's like crap, right? And the thing though is a lot of guys think that what they're doing for their women is what the woman wants to do. I mean, there's that whole thing of I've used this analogy kind of where this guy every time he comes home brings the woman cherry pie, right? Every day he comes home, he brings her cherry pie, brings her cherry pie. Then one day he comes home and the woman's packing her things and leaving. And then the guy's like, "Why are you leaving me?" It's like, "I brought you cherry pie every day." Turns out to be the woman says, "All I wanted was apple pie." And it's like, so sometimes it's like you have to know what her needs, what her wants are as much as possible. So it doesn't matter where you take her. Because the thing though is if it matters, then why is it that we see a lot of expats having problems with women in the Philippines? So so in the end, it's like, what are you doing when you bring the woman to your country? What do you think, Ken?
Um, I think that's true what you said. I think it's true what you said. I think there's some other aspects to it too. I will before I go in. I will point out my friend when he was flying to back from the U.S. to the Philippines. He lived there. He has a
Mhm.
outsourcing company he owns there owns there in Clark, and he was sitting next to an older woman, Filipina, and she told him, no matter what, do not marry a Filipina and bring her back to the U.S. That was her advice to him. But I don't really subscribe to that. I think there's a lot of nuances, like you said.
Yeah.
But um, I also so I have a 10-year old daughter there,
Awesome.
and me and her mom are now going to finally get married, and they're going to come back here.
Okay.
So my fiance, my daughter's mom, she had told me before that she had friends that told her, yes, it's good to get married and go to America because in America you can get a divorce and you can get half of everything. So, they once they get here, they do kind of talk and everything, but at the same time, I don't there may be some like that may be their end game, but
Hmm.
like you say, you got to be careful who you pick, and if you're going to have problems in the states, then you're going to even if you stay in the Philippines, you're going to have problems. It's all
Yeah.
on the person. And then on both sides, there's foreigner men, American men that aren't up on the up and up, and then there's Filipinos that aren't always on the up and up. You can't just put everybody in one box.
Yeah, and it's about, assessing, and this is what a lot of people I see, like, I've been through divorce in the past, right? And I thought I dotted all my I's as much as I could. Did the classes, did the thing together, did all that stuff, you know?
Yeah.
And even with that, there were things that I missed, right? And so now that, if I'm ever going to get married again, right? A lot of guys don't understand is like, look at the statistics. Like sometimes just pay attention to just the basic statistics. Like, you know, first of all, look at your woman's top 5 friends. Like ask your woman, who are your 5 top friends? And then after that, who is the 6 to 10? What you then do is look at their relationships because their relationships will be based on what are the little things that they're going to be whispering in her brain. And
Mm-hmm.
even no matter what you do, how you help her control the narrative, give her advice, say things, her friends were there first. And so, and I would even take it to the next level for Filipinas is find out her batch mates. Like, who are her top 5 best friends in college, in high school, and elementary? Because more than likely they still all hang out on separate events. She will not probably mix her high schooler with her college friends or elementary with her high school friends. And so if you analyze that, if because they literally say, if you, like, this is in the US, right? If you marry someone whose top 3 best friends are divorced, you already have an additional 75% chance that you're going to get into a divorce with the woman, because that's
Yeah.
what's ringing in her ears. That's what she sees. Just like, early on today, right? The story being told about, don't marry the old lady in Angeles City. Don't marry a bar girl. I mean, don't marry a girl, because they're gonna, don't take them to the US. Don't marry them and take them to the US. That is her um vision of the world, what she's seen, the stories she's heard. And so that's the thing you need to see, is ask those typical questions. I mean, that's just how it is. I mean, I think that in the end,
Yeah.
find out about the woman, find out about her family, find out about her friends, right? Because that will kind of influence the way she thinks, the way she acts, the way she feels in the end.
Yeah. Mike, I had 2 questions. One, what's your shirt say?
Yeah.
Male nurse.
Oh, male
Male.
male nurse. That's right. I'm a nurse.
Oh, okay. Are you a nurse?
Yeah.
Are you a male nurse? Oh, real
Mhm.
awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
I spent 11 months in the hospital from a bad motorcycle accident
Ooh,
back in 1990. And of course,
crazy.
most of the nurse women, but I had, and that was down in Miami, and I was at Jackson Memorial Hospital,
Got a
and
lot of Jamaicans
I was
there.
on practically, yeah, yeah, oh, yeah, 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 and I was
Mhm.
practically on every floor. And one of my best, I love this guy. One of my best nurses, I can't remember now. It's been 30 years. Was a male nurse, and I love all nurses, man. Oh man, the job that you guys do.
Mhm.
And man, I was just really taken care of there, man. It's incredible to go to work every day and have that smile. Anyways, we're getting off on a tangent on topic. I had one other thing since we
Yeah.
brought up the thing about the age gap thing. I
Mhm.
had something to ask you that I thought was interesting. So last time when we talked about we got an age gap, and basically I
Yeah.
was like, oh, it's a shaming tactic, this and that. And then you kind of came back with me a perspective.
Mhm.
The other day, I ended up watching your video about Filipina roach, which you had done on the 27th. You know where I'm going, which you had done on the 27th before our
Mhm.
discussion. And
Mhm.
I actually took some notes because I was like, right. So in that, I'll just to give everyone else, so the respondent of that, who was the guy being sued, he had a wife that um, there was a big age difference in there. But when he went to, and he, told the court that, but when he went to explain his side of that, obviously it was about money. The petitioner saying this guy owed him money. When
Mhm.
he goes to tell his side of the story, he kind of made it a point to say, yeah, and when I wrote it down, and when we met him, his girl was 22 years old. And then you stopped the video and got on that and said, this is what you said.
Mhm.
Well, you kind of were quoting him. Well, he's got a young Filipina too. She was 22 when we met him. But why is he using that? This is you talking now. Why is he using that? Why did you have to bring that age there? Right? Because it didn't have anything to do with
Mhm.
it. Because what you want to do is you want to do what? Shaming tactics, shame, insult, guilt, and the need to be right, typically used by toxic women and toxic men, to be honest.
Mhm.
That's basically along the same lines of what I was saying when I was bringing that up about age and shame. I didn't get on all the other stuff. I know
Mhm.
the insult, the guilt that toxic women do, but I did state that women do that and some men do that.
Mhm.
But after I said that, it's like we both kind of said the same thing, but you kind of were drilling down on, well, Ken, what woman has said that to you? What woman has said that to you in the past 10 years? And that's, as if what I was saying was somehow crazy and somehow wasn't true because a
Mhm.
woman actually hadn't said it to me. But which I stated is just like that guy brought it up in court. It's something that's brought up. You hear people talk about at parties, in conversations, in public. It doesn't have to. When I
Mhm.
saw it, I was just thought it was in, and I was just like, I wonder why Mike, of all things, like we're on the same page, but he
Mhm.
wanted to try to, I don't know if you were trying to I don't want to say discredit. It just after I thought
No.
actually when you said it, and then when I saw it, I'm like, I wonder what was going on there. Why was he? Because we both said the same thing, but he's kind of trying like calling me out, saying, well, as a woman's, So
Mhm.
I just thought it was interesting. Anyways,
No, I think that's a great observation. So what I would say there is, so in the show, that particular show, you see
yeah,
guys
yeah,
using it because they want, because what they're doing there, it's not even a shaming. What they're doing is they want the other person to look bad in front of the
in
judge,
front of the judge.
right? Yeah. So that's because those guys won't bring it up because they're dealing with younger girls, right? So they won't be doing that typically, but because of the type of audience that's in front of them, they want, that's why when they both said it, people in the background were like, ooh, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So, or else they won't be used that. Now, the in regards for the conversation that we had, the reason why I said that is because I wanted to kind of figure out, have you experienced that? Right? Now, here's the thing. Is it being used by because we both agreed that a lot
yeah,
of older women are kind of using that to the guys because now that they're not the ones that has what they call the SMV, the higher, the sexual
yeah,
marketplace value, they're it's lower now because they're older, and guys are going for the young girls where, and we both agreed that when those girls were younger, they were dating the older guys, right?
yeah,
So, it's just that there's the switch in that power. And for me wise, because especially when we start talking about red pill content, because you were talking red pill content, that means I could tell that you were either you've watched some Rollo Tomasi stuff, those type of stuff,
I
because you were
have, but I've
using.
been, yeah, yeah.
Okay,
I'm gonna tell
so
you, I've been of that mindset for a long time though. Before that,
yeah,
but go ahead.
yeah, of course.
Yeah,
And so what I always say is, for a lot of guys, is that, what is your true experience? Right? Because we can talk about women shaming men, all this kind of stuff. For me wise, I think what's important is, like, what's your experience to that? And like, so it's like, so sometimes, even though we hear those things happening, the times that we hear those and see those happenings, it's in YouTube. And so finding out, like, your own practical experience is an important thing, because a lot of guys nowadays are using that as an excuse why they should not approach women.
why they shouldn't approach
And
younger women or older women?
any women. A lot
Oh,
of
that
guys
they
are,
might be.
well, yeah,
Yeah,
because they're going to be shamed. They're not going to deal with you because
oh,
you're not a 6 by 6 by 6 by 6. They're not going to
yeah,
deal with you because your income is below a six-figure income, or you're just working a vocational, or just a tech, just a regular tech, blue collar technical
yeah,
jobs. There is all that talk. And so for me wise, I want to be able to jump in and say, what's your experience? Because even though that those things are occurring, we should
yeah,
not worry about it too much, because if we use those, we create our own objections for ourselves to kind of go
yeah,
at it, and,
yeah,
actually not continue on. It's no
yeah.
difference than you hear some people shaming guys, like men shame other men for wanting to go to another country, and
Hmm.
look for somebody else. What's the shame tactics that's being used? Oh, it's because you can't pick up a woman in your country,
Yeah, yeah, right.
right?
Yeah,
And just as when we start talking about what women kind of use to talk about guys, the worst enemy a guy has is another man. It's not the women, really.
yeah,
Right? It's not really the women, it's the other men that is
mhm,
even far worse. Just as with women, their far worse enemy is another woman.
Yeah.
And so it's a matter of just like, what I just want to know. It wasn't me digging on you, as me, what's your experience? Because
Yeah. Thanks
sometimes,
for clarifying.
yeah, sometimes when you
Because
bring up that,
it kind of
it
came
kind of hurt.
across probably just bad communication. It
Yeah,
kind of
yeah, 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 yeah,
came
yeah,
across that way,
yeah.
like you were like trying to discredit me, and I'm like, next time he's on,
No,
let me just ask him and see. I don't think Mike's trying to do whatever, but that's the clarification. It makes sense. I think the delivery wasn't, you
yeah,
know,
and I think it was a
yes.
fast pace happening,
Yeah, yeah,
whatever, like that, and there wasn't any room for follow up. And so I'm glad you brought it up, so I could actually
yeah,
be more clear about what was the discussion about a little bit more. Wait, is Mike's
yeah.
back?
But mostly like just my experience has been just like I was saying, like pretty much just throughout my life. Like that's just the conversation at parties, the conversation at family. It's just a conversation. Never, I don't think a woman has actually ever said that to me that I
Hmm.
can remember, especially not in the last 10 years. But so I understand you were trying to get my experience, like if I had a personal experience of like a one-on-one, but I didn't know if you were trying to use it to discount what I was saying as if it wasn't true. That's all. That's what it
Oh
was. And then
no,
and
not
then brought that. But yeah, I
not at
got
all.
you. We're good. We're good.
And
Yeah,
if
I
that
got
if that's what what was what was delivered,
yeah.
I apologize fully.
No,
And
no, no.
and to be honest, just to be a little bit whatever there, because there was a moment there where you were talking all about that stuff, and then you were there was and it sucks to be in your position, what you had to experience and stuff like that, and it's amazing that you opened it up. But what I was trying to do is, it's called the heaven and hell routine,
Hmm.
right? And to kind of say, all right, let's put, you're talking about this stuff right now. What I wanted to do there really is kind of dig in a little bit more and go in on it, because my entire goal is like, look, you're talking about all this stuff right now. Let's talk about, let's go to the heaven. You're in hell right now because that's all you're talking about. And so for my goal there is to navigate the conversation, say, okay, fine, we talked about that. It sucks. What's next? So it's the heaven and hell routine to kind of get you out from having to do that, because that's just the situation there. And so that's pretty much what I was doing.
Oh yeah. No, my son's 21 now. The whole custody thing. So that hell
Mm,
was over.
yeah.
Well, I still had problems with his mom a little bit after I won custody, but that was old. That was old news. That was
Yeah.
old
Once
news.
he's
Hey, I
21,
got
you're
to,
good.
Mike, can I bring up a topic, or do you want to stay on this? I had a question.
Well, let
Which
The
Mike? Me?
MC Mike, Mike.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
bring up the topic. Let's see what the people say about it.
Yeah, I had a question. Something I was curious. I first went to the Philippines in 2007. I was in Japan studying, going to school, and I had a friend that I knew her aunt here or her whatever, and I had back in the day when Yahoo. I don't know if you remember Yahoo Chat was a big thing. And so, anyways, I went over there after school. I went back, and then I went to the Philippines every year, probably twice a year. Philippines and Japan after that forever. But and it's like I figured I'd ask you guys. I have had an answer, but I wasn't sure. So like when you park and then there's the guys that when you back out, you kind of give them the money for them to stop
yeah.
traffic, or you go to McDonald's and they put a cardboard on your scooter. If it's sunny, they put it out so your seat don't get hot. If it's rain, they put it out, and they kind of. I now are those guys just kind of making up their jobs, or are they? I heard somebody said they have to get like permission, like from the city to get those kind of certain sections. I didn't know if you guys knew. Do you know, or were
I
you
I,
curious to know?
I can tell you about Angeles. Um,
Yeah, that's what I'm.
all right, so in Angeles, there's like a little mafia of guys that sort of, they're all like know each other and this and that. And I think it's
Yeah.
just because of over time. But no, they
Mhm.
don't need a permit from the city. They just pick a spot and give assistance and
Okay.
um, hope they get some sort of a small tip. And quite
Hmm.
honestly, we all actually always tip them. We always give
Yeah,
them,
me too.
even if it's
Yeah.
just pocket change. And the reason isn't for what they do, The reason is that these are usually places when we drive, these are places we frequent. All right.
Yeah.
And when it's some place that we frequent, they start to recognize us. All of a sudden, they're not going to let some trike driver park his trike right up against our vehicle. All right.
Yeah.
They keep an eye out there. If they know, hey, blah, I'm going to get 10 or 15 or 20 pesos for helping them stop traffic, then sure.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, Mike, have you ever seen where there's permits needed for that?
No permits needed. So it depends. So Mike talks about like the little small time organization, whatever syndicates, as you may say, local syndicates and stuff like that. But like typically in the bigger cities, what you see is like they have to give kind of tip to the security guard, because the security guard technically is in charge of that area. So the security guard will let them do all that stuff. But to be honest, some places the security guards are the ones that's going to help you back up anyways, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
just all depends. I give 20 pesos when every time that I do that. Like for me wise, the place I do frequent, I always tip the security guards. So like the Starbucks that I go to, for example, in Quezon City, I always give something to the security guards. Like he knows me. The two shifts knows me as well. So it's like, when I go in there, because I always like to nighttime, I'll always chill in the outside. Daytime, I'll chill in the inside.
Yeah.
And so at nighttime, I hate getting bombarded by now the ladies with the babies. Those are part of the syndicate. You ever see those ladies with an envelope and then with a baby? They're part of the syndicate. So I hate being bothered by them or being bothered by walkers and stuff like that. And and so the security guard will always like just shoo them away.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just 20 pesos.
Also,
It's done.
Yeah. Also, what I found sometimes too, I don't know if you ever encountered this. Like Mike says, you give them your change, whatever, 20 pesos here and there is what I gave them.
Mm-hmm.
But I've had times where that parking attendant has gotten angry with me. I guess because I'm a foreigner and he's only getting 20 pesos, 15 by change or whatever. Have you ever encountered that before?
I think I can tell you two things. The first one is no, I've never encountered. I mean, Arlen, I can't drive in traffic anymore. All right, my feet don't feel. I can't feel the feedback from the gas pedal and the brake. I have no feeling in my legs. So Arlen's always driving, and I'm going to tell you, Arlen gives them her leftover change, be it 10 pesos, be it 7 pesos, be it 20 pesos. Now, she won't give them more than 20, all right?
Yeah.
But they're grateful. We've never had an issue at all. But here's what's interesting, Mike. I would ask you this. Do you know what the going rate is in the popular areas, like around Tequila Reef, those areas where the trike lines are, around Malabañas? Do you know what it costs to get into that trike line?
Oh, about $2,000.
Oh, you mean a trike driver to what he has to pay to get in there?
It's like buying the metal, like in New York. You know how like New York taxis have to buy metals. Yeah, some of those guys you have to pay in to be able to be part of that.
The trike line outside of Tequila Reef is a 400,000 peso buy-in
per year,
but it's a lifetime. And it's transferable, which I found interesting. But I had no idea until a couple of months ago that it was that expensive to buy into a trike line.
I've always wondered that too. I'm glad you brought that up. I always kind of wondered any fees or anything. But it's funny you mentioned that about Arlen. So what I started doing most of the time is I'll either, unless I'm by myself, obviously, but I normally have Jane and my daughter with me, and I'll let them, even though I'm driving, I'll let them give the money to the parking guy, and then that way I'm kind of taken out of the equation.
And Arlen always gives the tip to the backer upper guy or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just
And,
as long if they're doing something like that, that's fine. But like
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't give tips to the ones that open up your door at 7-Eleven or
No.
mini stops and stuff like that. I don't do that.
No, I
But
don't.
it just depends, I guess.
Yeah.
trying to catch a few of these up. So,
Go ahead.
Mike, what's your opinion on associating with expats when you come to the Philippines? Be around them or not associate with them?
Oh, I'm all about being around them. Like but that's the thing. It's like you try to figure them out right away who you want to be around with. It's I mean, you have to give everybody an opportunity. There's going to be some weird looking guys, but some of the best stories and cool person. It's not about, what they look like. So I'm all about, because what people don't understand is like, just like as those Filipinas you bring to your country, like they have to associate with who they're used to or what they're used to. So same thing for us. It's okay to be around expats, but you have to be choosing which expats you're surrounding yourself with. If they're saying stuff that doesn't, kind of go parallel with your thought process, then you can kindly not hang out with them anymore. But at the very same time, as I believe that people are good people, I'll give them an opportunity and see from there.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
LG says, I've been getting a senior citizen discount on my driver's license ID. I surprised I'm only 30-day entry and not a resident. Any comments? Well, you know what? I get a discount for some things. Usually it's restaurants or something like that on my on my ACR card. Shows my age, but you cannot get. They actually had a war about senior citizen ID cards about a year ago. All right. And they pointed out that the Constitution specifically identifies that the senior citizens are citizens. And if you're not a citizen of the Philippines, you can't get a senior citizen card. Although apparently many foreigners in the past have been able to get them. But I will tell you something. The benefits on the senior citizens cards are really outstanding. I mean,
Yeah, free movies every Thursday.
Yeah, free movies, 20% discount, Philippine Airlines and Cebu Pacific on domestic flights, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, I think LG got away with it because there's a lot of places that don't know the rules either, right? So they just think that once you're a certain age, you're going to get the discount automatically. But just be careful, because one of these days you put that in front of somebody and they'll get mad at you. They'll probably, you're like, how dare you try to use our services? So you want to watch out that as well.
And Loving the Philippines says, yeah, because that's what a lot of people don't recognize. He's correct. The government actually gives the retailers some sort of either reimbursement or credit towards revenue or something like that when they're giving these discounts out. And so if you don't have that ID number, that's what you'll say. Like when you go to like the grocery store and the little old lady in front of you then whips out her senior ID, then you have to wait for them to go get a book, and then they have to put all the pertinent information in the book. He's absolutely correct. You will not get a lot of these discounts because they're required. So either way.
Can a foreigner get a PWD card?
No.
And besides, you don't want one.
I didn't think
Because remember, part of the reason that they allow you in the Philippines is that you're not with disability. So, like, if you even say that you have like, for example, if they find out that you have some form of depression, if they know that you're taking any psychotropic medications, they can actually kick you out of the country and blacklist you.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't, even if, like, let's say, for example, you get the residency and all that stuff, stay away from any of that stuff. Like, don't even share that. They can kick you out for that. there's rules on what's allowed. Hey, Mike, there was a question. I believe Steve asked about it in regards for giving money to the
Oh, I
to
saw
people that
that.
are beggars. So panhandlers. So it is when you're giving it to beggars is where you don't give money technically, right? And because that's like I believe it's like 1563, I think it was. I remember the year it was approved was my birthday, was my date, was my year. So it was like 1978 is when that was put out. So it's called the anti-mendicancy law. So yeah, so if somebody's begging for money, you shouldn't give it. But those guys are helping you back up and stuff like that. I would give to those because they're doing something at least rather than like that's why I even said earlier on today is I don't give money to the ones that opens a door for me because that's nothing.
You know what? I read somewhere that some of the LGUs actually um, issue permits for beggars.
Yeah. On
So
certain areas.
in certain areas, yeah.
And they have to have like that certificate or they have to wear this T-shirt that shows that they're approved to be in that area.
And I'm an amputee, Mike. It wouldn't be anything mental, any type of drugs or anything. I'm a BK. I'm a left BK.
Left BK.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I would just look into it. Pretty much what the Philippines government is saying is we don't need somebody here that we're gonna have to take care of later on. That's where
Yeah.
they're. But if you're a left BKA, below knee amputee, and you're
Yeah.
still able to do on your own, then there's nothing wrong with
Oh
that.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I wear shorts everywhere I go, so it's not like it's a secret. So
Yeah, you can get if that's the case, you might not even need to show a PWD. Just if you're gonna go to a concert,
yeah,
show the leg. They'll
yeah.
probably let you
There's
go in front.
times. Yeah, there's times we're in line, we're somewhere, and Jane will be like, "But where did PWD go?" And we had to go to Manila for. We had to go down to something. It wasn't the embassy; it was some other office, and the parking was across. There's no parking, but we were able to get in and park. I pulled the PWD card, even though I didn't have a card. We told the security guard, and they're like, "Oh, okay," and they just let us drive in, and we
Yeah, they
parked.
don't know. A lot of them just know that they need to help. They don't know the true
Yeah,
rules about it. So that's sometimes the best thing. You can get away with it.
Yeah.
yeah,
I don't know how to answer Henry. I mean, Henry, first off, if you don't have a Philippine passport, you're not going to get a senior citizen discount, a senior citizen card. All right. Doesn't matter if you used to be, if you can't supply a Philippine passport as identification, you're not a Philippine citizen. All right. If you do have a Philippine passport, then I would assume you are a dual citizen, and
Yep,
you know,
that's what I would say.
and I mean it's just what I think, and so you would submit it as a Philippine citizen.
Yeah, I would apply for a Filipino citizenship dual if you want to, but one of the requirement is you have to have that old passport of yours if you ever kept it. That's one thing I would look at. But then the next thing I would always ask is, do you want to give up your American citizenship? Because you have to understand when you're in the Philippines and you're a dual citizen, you are considered a Filipino citizen, not an American citizen. So it's up to you what you want to do about that.
And Hopa's correct. There's a fine art to begging, and some of them make just. You know what? There's an old lady. We see her all the time, just barely walking. Her clothes aren't dirty, but they're disheveled or whatever. Around Walking Street, Tequila Reef, every day, every morning. And a couple of weeks ago, a month ago, whatever, my Arlene's at SM Mall and it's getting ready to open up. She always goes early, and she sends me a picture, and it's that old lady, and she's just like dressed extremely well, and her pocketbook is very nice, and so yeah, some of them do quite well.
Mm-hmm.
And Ruby, John is also a BK.
Oh, hey, John. Awesome. Oh, you're on your right. Okay, on my left.
Henry, only if you're a dual citizen reacquire your Philippine citizenship. Hoppa says, I've seen them exchanging coins for bills. Some of them can make around 500 pesos and upwards to 1,000 on a holiday. Yeah, it's not a, you know what? I don't think it's a career that I would encourage, but I don't know. Ruby says, not really, Mike. Only if you enter the Philippines with a Philippine passport. Reason why I use my Australian passport in entering the Philippines in every visit. Yeah, but then you come in as a Philippine, as an Australian. Yeah, I guess there's I've heard about this before. Mike, what she's talking about is like Ruby, excuse me, she's a dual citizen. She has both passports. But when she comes into the Philippines, she comes in on her Australian passport. All right. So that for the Australian government's there to help her if she needs it, I guess. How are medical services for heart patients? Will I be allowed in? Keith, I don't know. What's your problem? How bad's your heart? Should you even be coming?
You better be staying either by St. Luke's Hospital, or if you're in Cebu, by Chonghua Hospital. Other than that, good luck anywhere else.
Yeah. I mean, if I had to have stents put in, okay, I'd do that here. If I had to have a bypass, I'd head to the west coast of the U.S.
St. Luke's got a pretty good bypass team. I know.
Yeah, they do.
Already had the bypass.
They do.
So. But the St. Luke's BGC is what I'm talking.
Yes, it's the BGC is their heart. That's their heart center. Absolutely. And what is it? Asian Hospital or Doctors Hospital of Asia?
Yeah,
they're also
Doctors
also
Hospital.
certified. They're a JACO certified heart center as well as BGC.
Yeah, I wouldn't put a lot of stressors in JACO.
I'm gonna tell you what. You don't have to put a lot of stress on JACO, but I'm gonna tell you, until you've had to fill that paperwork out.
Oh, I've been through that. I actually consult agencies how to pass JACO.
Oh.
So yeah, I know JACO through and through. I mean, at least for two types of businesses. And what's funny is my condo in Oak Brook used to overlook JACO offices. So that's in Oak Brook, Illinois. And so it's very tedious. It's very all paperworky, whatever like that. But like, come on. Like, when JACO's in a hospital building when you have managers and directors walking the hallway. That's the only time. That's the only time those people will be seen in the hallway.
Yep.
So
says Sullivan Marcus says take JR, the little man on Walking Street. They've tried to give him a job many times. But you know something? That's his choice. And he's a victim of circumstances. I mean, the guy's 3'5" at best, he's got dwarfism and it's going to be difficult for him.
He's scary. He scares me.
He is a little scary.
He always pops up without of nowhere. I'm like walking and then he just pops up. I'm like, what the hell where'd you come from?
Well, he can hide behind an ashtray. I mean, he's just, he fits everywhere.
But that one girl that has, one leg shorter than the other.
Yes,
that's always selling like
canned gum,
juicy fruit.
Gum,
right?
Fruit.
Every time I'm there and I see her, I buy I'll buy a $20 gum from her.
Yeah,
is what I'll do. Like, give me a whole thing and I'll give her $20 because every time I see that girl, I feel so bad for her.
And what's her name? I can't believe she's still there. That she's forever.
Anna.
She sells flowers. And I
Oh,
remember her back from '07 when I was there, and I was just there in September, and I didn't see her in 2022 at all. And she's older now. We're talking 10, 15 years.
Mhm.
And I was sitting somewhere outside or something, and she walked by, just flowers, and I had short, and then she recognized my leg. She goes, "I remember you. You don't remember me." I can't remember her name though. But then when she said that, I realized I could back and see the young girl that she was
I
back
mean,
before.
you've
I can't
got
remember her name.
some age old legends hanging out. I mean, you've got Anna, homeless Anna, who is still
That is.
bumping and grinding, or whatever you want to call it. Um, you've got Junior, who's been around for a long time. Uh, you've got the old lady that does the morning walk around Tequila Reef and that whole area of Malabanas, all the way up to Margarita Station. Um, I mean, there are people that have made an entire career and living up and down that street.
I'm sure.
Yeah,
I don't know. Derek Ramsey.
Oh, how about that's actually Big Giant. So no, that's not who we're talking about. Um, if like Derek Ramsey is an actor in the Philippines, and we're actually having this discussion in the Discord about the small guy, and the one guy's called Big Giant. So, but I know what Hapa's talking about.
Whatever happened to Ringside up on P. Borges? You know, the place that had the fighting midgets, and
Closed down.
I mean it's gone, isn't it?
Yeah, it closed down because they tried to open up during the pandemic. They lost their license. They shut them down.
Oh wow,
Yeah, they shut them down.
yeah. We actually went there one time. That was kind of weird. In
Yeah.
the small town,
I,
my
I
wife.
I like watching the tiny people females box.
Yeah, we watched. They had like they had like a challenge, and I think it was all rigged. But they would get like a foreigner, and they would get in the ring, and they'd have like four female small folks, and pretend to beat the shit out of them. I'm pretty sure it was all rigged up and everything, but it was funny.
Mhm.
John wants to know, how are women in the fills if you have a BK? Standoffish?
um, that's a good question. Not as much as in Japan. No, I mean it's not. There may be some, but you're not really going to have a problem. It's not going to cause an issue. There may be some here and there. I can't specifically remember where a girl was turned off or not interested because of that. Um, Now there may have been, and I just didn't notice. But
There's I think there's going
and
to be like
I was shorts mostly. Yeah, I have a little bit of a limp. So what's funny is when I wear long pants though, and they can't see my leg, it is a little bit more. People are maybe a little bit more taken aback because they don't know limp. But when I wear shorts, it's like okay, they know exactly what's kind of going on and they're fine. Now, one thing you will get, I guess, it's just part of the culture. Filipinos will stare. They have no. It's just part of. They're not taught not to stare. And I'll walk in the mall, and they'll just be like stare and grab their friend just like that. So I had put probably in 2008. I ended up putting a sticker on my leg that said "Stop staring at me." And the reactions were funny when I had that sticker on my leg. But yeah, what was the guy's name? Yeah, you won't have any problem You won't have any
No.
problem with it. I've met a few amputees, young guys there. They just don't have the money for legs. Sit there and talk with them for a little while and everything. I meant to bring my older legs with me back, but every time I go, it's like my suitcase is too full. But the socket is molded for ours, but I'm sure they can figure something else. So, um, yeah, you shouldn't have any problems.
Just like anything, I think if you make it a handicap, it's going to become a handicap.
Yeah,
In the end, it's like, you know, it, sometimes, once again, don't use as an excuse. Have the conversation, talk to them, and figure out from there. And you're not going to be able to make anybody just like you right away. I mean, so it's like, plus, if they're going to be acting up, and that's the reason why they don't want to be with you, then you don't want to be with them.
All right, so I guess Kenny has a phone call, and so
Looks like
that's fine. It's fine, Kenny. All right, and I tell you what, take care of what you need to take care of, and then come on back. And let's see here. There we go.
side by side again.
Yep, side by side. So to answer, Henry, TRICARE is not a health. It's not a public health plan. It's a military healthcare plan. So you'd have to be a U.S. military member or dependent to get that, to the best of my knowledge. I don't know. You know what? They're talking about Fazio.
Yeah, that
And
guy had cellulitis for the longest.
do what?
That guy had cellulitis for the longest. The first time I ever came across one of his videos a while back, I was like, "Ooh, cellulitis. He's dying soon." I'm surprised he lasted long enough because he wasn't taking care of it. There's a big difference if you get it taken care of, but he was walking on like dirty areas, and you could see that it was seeping like 2 years ago. And I'm like, he needs to be an IV antibiotics if I was him. But yeah, surprised that he probably had necrosis that just finally went to get. I will guarantee he ended up getting necrosis and then eventually getting gangrene, and then that's why he
Yeah.
had toxicity in his system. That's
He
why he died.
probably ended up septic. I don't know much
Yeah.
about him at all. But
Yeah.
how's the weather in Palawan? I don't think Andy, are you in Palawan now? Man, Andy's bouncing around.
Yeah, that's what he said he was planning to do, is go to Palawan.
There's a wrap for my leg. Looks like Terminator. I'm thinking of getting it. Thanks for the answers. I do have a girlfriend, but I was wondering about how they looked at amputees. I don't know. Kenny might be able to answer that, or did answer that better. I wouldn't know. I find Filipinos to be very accepting of issues because, quite frankly, their entire culture is subject to medical tragedy after tragedy. And so I don't think, nothing really surprises them. It doesn't hit them. So I don't think so. I don't think it. I don't know.
It just all depends. I mean, but funerals is something that happens every year.
Yeah. I don't know who Daisy is, Keith. I apologize. Oh, Andy says, I'm still in Pampanga. I'm going to take the bus to the airport soon. Okay. Henry, there are multiple places to get private health insurance. All right. I would recommend you Google it and then research them very diligently. Very, very diligently.
Or find a broker. You have like Sun Life, you have Cigna Global. There's several other ones, but just go to somebody who's a rep. I think that would be very helpful.
Yeah. Andy says, I saw a girl in Pattaya riding around the wheelchair like it was a bike on his lap. Nothing would surprise me.
Just get the girl one of those hoverboards, and then she can go on the hoverboard and just push it.
Oh, that'd be cool. That'd be cool. That's what, you know what? There's what we've been noticing. A lot of the bars have Korean management, whatever.
Mhm.
All right. And the Koreans have like huskers, I think is the term that they use. People out in the street saying, come in, come in, come in.
Yeah.
You know, and these are all Filipino guys, mostly. All right. There are some not Filipino, I'm sorry, Korean guys, but some Filipinos, because there are some Filipinos that speak English, Filipino, Tagalog, but they're hustling. So across the street from me, there's like 4 or 5 of these door guys and a couple of bar managers. And they ride these little remember those Blade scooters, the little
The two-wheel scooters?
Yeah. They're riding these electric ones. All right. And they ride the living crap out of them. We see them on it all the time. Death. Yeah. Oh my God. I've been on 2 hours and 46 minutes. I better get my ass in gear. I really and truly should. Mike, thank you so much for dropping in.
No problem, man. I'll head on out, man. You finish up this stuff. Later, guys.
All right. Take care. So, folks, look, we really appreciate everybody stopping in, and we really appreciate your time. And we hope that all of you have a safe and great day. All right? Take care, and thanks for showing up. It's been terrific. Thanks.